Hello, my loves. I'm not sure if we have gotten together on the other side of the new year, but if we have not, happy 2024 to you. It is such a pleasure to be here again. Trust me when I say a pleasure. I can't say that when I sat down to do this video today that this is what I thought I'd be talking about, but it has been so heavy on my mind personally that it has caused me to re examine my purpose, to re examine my message, and to push myself to discover the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like everybody who is on their journey is in a transformative season right now. The energy astrologically has been in such a space that some months it's been chaotic, some months, but for the last couple of months, it has been um, a really, really, really influential energy that's forcing us to look into anything that's holding us back and remove anything that is standing in our way or clouding our vision of the world around us and ourselves. So I found myself coming up with a lot of content, just ideas, and not just content, even business ideas. I mean, they're just pouring out. They're pouring out. I get so motivated and so excited, and I write them down and I sketch them out, and I can see the vision. And little by little, that determination, that motivation, it just starts to wane and it starts to fade and it ebbs and then it might flow, but then it starts to eventually ebb. And I wondered what would make me feel so positive and so sure about something in one moment and then completely abandon it the next. And one of the things that came to me was the link between perfectionism and procrastination. A lot of us use the term perfectionism as a coping mechanism to say, to mask the reasons why we're not doing something. Yes, we may want it to be right, but that lends itself to the question of what's wrong. Now, I am a millennial. I can say that. I'm a millennial, and we are often accused of wanting instant gratification. Now, because some of us are going through that journey of self discovery, there is this guilt when you hear people say that. It's like, oh, and I know for me, I can tend to take things really, really hard. So it can be like, oh my goodness, I feel like such a bad person because I want things now, 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 now. And when we don't necessarily learn how to take the meat and leave the bones, i.e., we don't learn how to take the constructive part of the criticism, it can feel like a burden, it can feel like a weight. But when we do learn to look at it in under a different lens, instant gratification is just pointing to some deficit that we have experienced in our lives before. So there's a reason why. Why do you want it now? Why do you feel that you can skip steps? Or did you know that you were skipping steps? Some of us weren't even aware that we were skipping steps. And one of the reasons I find that to be is we grew up we were the pioneers of the digital era, the social media culture. We grew up in social media. We also have seen the evolution and all of the beauty and all of the connectedness that it's brought to us over the years, and we have been privy to the judgment, the criticism, the harassment, things of that nature. So a lot of us are not unaware that we can be touched by that same negativity. Even if you're not consistently displaying your journey on social media, the way that it has forced us to adapt in the way that we think carries on through our daily life. We're thinking that someone's always looking, or someone may be recording, or, oh, I can't step out and try this new look because I don't know who's going to see me and what they're going to say. It exacerbated that dread that some of us felt in high school, where you would think that the whole world was talking about you. In actuality, it was about six people, but maybe you couldn't be told it was not the whole world. For me, one of the things that continuously has been a challenge for showing up, especially in these spaces, is the concept of image and branding. At times, it can be difficult to show up because you haven't learned to validate yourself and your gifts and your voice. So you are trying to show up as the person that people want you to be, not truly understanding that who you are is enough. And that's something that I've personally dealt with often when I'm in these spaces of guiding or helping or healing or things of that nature, because the energy is so high and it's moving in a manner where they can feel it and I can feel it. I'm often feeding off of that energy and not taking inventory of what it is that is truly being fed. Of course, I trust that I'm feeding goodness and I'm feeding kindness and empathy, but to quantify that value, I hadn't really sat back and done that. So it's hard to say, oh, what's so special, what's so special, what's so special, when you hadn't really sat back to look at it. And what that does, what these things do when you don't allow yourself to show up, when you're afraid to show up, it causes resentment within you. You start to criticize, others, you start to criticize yourself, you start to live with various amounts of guilt. And guilt is another complex layer of ego. Something else telling you who you're not, something else making you feel low and bringing you down from the vibration that you desire to maintain, from the person that you desire to be. I'll give you an example because I'm working through it now. Baby, when I tell you, and if it's loud in the background, it is what it is. But when I tell you so many things are going on to prevent me from showing up, I am having thoughts of my own as to, girl, should you be doing this video right now? Do you even know what you want to say? Are they going to receive your message? Is your message clean enough? Is it sharp enough? Is it pointed enough? See, I'm in touch enough with that shadow that I can bring it to you and be honest about where I am. Because in my personal journey and experience, the ways that I've helped people most is by my transparency. I've had issues with that again in the past because people look at me and don't, no matter if I'm telling you my whole life, they some people haven't seen that transparency. And we can be honest about the ways that those types of things bruise us, but we can't stay there. Part of my purpose is not only sharing this with you, but it's opening up so that I can heal as well. So what can we do to move ourselves from this space? One of the things that we can do is continuing to show up, continue to practice, continue practicing showing up. Get out of your own way. Start to identify those excuses, that little monkey mind in the back that's stopping you from showing up in the way that you want to show up. If you have an issue hearing the sound of your own voice, that's okay. Record the video. Listen to it. Even if it's 15 seconds, record it, cut it, listen to it. 30 seconds, record it, cut it, listen to it. But don't stop until you record a full product that day. Don't stop. Because another thing about the procrastination effect, can, it's not something that we can typically overcome in a day or two. Another thing to mention, a lot of us tend to wait for the circumstances to be just right. You can't do your content because it's noisy in the background. You can't work on your book because you're waiting for the mood to hit you just right. And this is something that I am quite guilty of. And I mean, quite guilty of. Again, the habits of procrastination are not broken in a day. Give yourself the grace and the space, but identify the beast. Identify the thing that's stopping you from showing up because it's still very early in 2024. You still have plenty of time to show up as the person that you said that you were going to be, but you cannot show up if you do not start. You cannot win the race if you don't walk to the starting line. You understand what I'm saying? We wait for and there are going to be days where everything is absolutely perfect and you may get things done on that day. However, more often than not, there are going to be circumstances that challenge your discipline, whether that discipline is showing up for the weight room, showing up for your workout, showing up for your diet, showing up for your self-care, showing up for your new business. All of these goals and things that we've set to help us elevate to the next level. Can you imagine going into another year seeing the results that you've seen in the past? Can you imagine going into the very next month doing the same things that you started off doing this month, or letting things fall by the wayside in the ways that you already have this month? Can you imagine doing it another day? If the answer is no, it is time for you to start to break the habits of procrastination, break the habits of perfectionism, and don't let yourself get caught up there. Identify the reasons that you're not showing up and deal with them one by one, one by one. Practice, practice, practice. Show up in love, show up in kindness, show up in gratitude, show up in compassion, and watch your whole year turn around. Peace and love. It's Miss Milan signing off.